Hello and welcome to another beautiful sunny morning here in Nova Scotia. It's springtime, the birds are singing, and today I'm going to be building this cottage garden style garden seat with a roof over it, so that in the hot summer days ahead I can sit down in shady splendour and admire my hopefully rather beautiful apple orchard. So if you want to join me on a step-by-step trip through the building process, stay tuned to this video. Okay, so the seat is going to go in between these two rocks, and the equipment and bits and bobs I need for this job is this amount of wood, of which I'm putting a list up on the screen. So here's the list of the materials you'll need and some of the tools down below. It's mostly self-explanatory, except for you need 10 8-foot 2 inch by 2 inch lengths for the trellis pieces. I've got 4 concrete post bases, or you can use spikes. I prefer the concrete here because I've got so many rocks, as you can see here, that I end up breaking these spikes all the time. So this is an easier job for me. Some shovels, a level. There's the roof there. Various bits and bobs, and like I said, I've put the list up on the screen. My trusty electrical saw, and this hand and the other hand. So let's get started. Right, so first up I want to measure up the dimensions of the actual seat itself, which is about 4 foot wide by 3 foot deep, and then I'm going to mark up where the actual concrete posts bases are going to go, and I'm going to dig them out. See, I told you I've got a lot of rocks in this garden. I'm pretty sure I checked all of this area, dug it over last autumn to make sure there were no rocks, or clear any rocks that were there. So I'm just measuring out, and there we are. Another big one. Oh well, keep going. Then we've got the slightly finicky process now of levelling this first block off. So I've got a block of wood, we level the trusty mallet handle, or hammer even, and get bashing. Okay, so that's the 4 post bases dug in. Each one of the bases has got a bottom layer of gravel, and then I've gravelled all the way around, knocked them all in, nice and level. Time for the woodwork. So the supposed good angle for sitting down is between 18 and 20 inches off the ground. So see if I can get that right. So I'm going to fix these cross pieces in with these big coach bolts. So I'm going to have to obviously drill these out first, otherwise if I try and put them in, it will take me ages and it will split the wood anyway. So I'm going to drill them out. I think I've had enough for the day. It always takes you that little bit longer than you think it's going to take, but not done too bad. Got the bases in, got the uprights, got the cross members in. The seat is about the right position, so I'll carry on nicely refreshed tomorrow, and we should have the roof on before you know it, and then that shady splendour will be used again. See you tomorrow. Welcome back. So it's been raining the last couple of days. It was even snowing this morning, so I've been itching to get back out here and finish this off. But you can't wait for perfect weather in Nova Scotia. And you know what they say, perfection is the enemy of progress. So I'm back out here, determined to get amongst it and finish it off. But what I thought I would do first was give you a quick rundown of what I did over the last, or a couple of days ago, to get to this point. Because obviously a lot of it you've been watching on fast forward, so it might be a good idea to have a quick inspection, see what I did, just to get you guys ready for when you want to build it. Let's get going. So, I started off by digging the holes for these concrete post bases, and obviously when digging those holes I discovered another nice 3 rocks for my rock collection, which is definitely growing. But back to the post bases. So I dug out the holes, put the gravel in the bottom, gravel all around the sides, tamped them down, levelled them all out, and then the next thing was the post base, the actual posts themselves. So I put them in, got some wedges in there for the minute, and I'm actually going to put some brackets and tie them in to the actual concrete post bases later on. But once I'd put the uprights in, obviously made sure with the level they were nice and straight both ways. Not was as easy as you think. And then I put these cross pieces in, and I tied them in with these big what I call coach bolts. Drilled the holes out. Obviously you don't want to try and put them in without drilling out the holes, so one of them on each side, and one here, one at the back, one on the other side, so you've got the 3 sides tied in, all nice and level. And I've put these in at 16 inches at the top there, because what the book says for the actual seat, it wants to be between 18 and 20 inches. Mrs F has got short legs, so I've put this at 16. This is a 6x2 piece of wood, so that height there is a nice 18 inches now, and it feels alright when I'm sat on it. So Mrs F will still be dangling her legs. Then I put in these vertical pieces here that are used to sort of hide the the ends of the cross pieces. So I put one there, one on each of the at the back and on the other side. So just screwed them in. You can nail them in if you want to. Then I put in the top ones, so they were sort of resting on the top here. I made a mistake, that's why that one's not resting, there's a bit of a gap. So there's a mistake I made, but never mind. And that, so then I put here, obviously the back and the side again, all tied in with coach bolts. Then I put in these cross pieces all the way down, and I'm going to put some vertical ones in as well to make the sort of trellising for a nice climber to be climbing up later on when I get going. And that is about that. So we ended up with that nice bit of a framework. So today's job is get the roof on, put the seat in properly, so that'll be 2 bits of 2x6, and then put a back on it as well, so that we're resting nicely when we're sitting back. So I better get amongst it. So, got the roof frame up. Slightly vexed by the fact that I've just a bit undercut the length here. I really wanted it this far out, but as I said, perfection's the enemy of progress, so let's keep going on. Now I'm just going to get my trusty assistant. Hello mate. And we're going to fix these up onto the roof frame itself, and then we'll put the actual roof shingles on top of this. So away we go. So the curse of having only a rather old and knackered circular saw with one rather old and knackered battery is that it doesn't last very long. So I can't finish off that for half an hour or so, so I'm going to go on to something else. I think I'll start on the front face. like a nice cup of tea after a hard day's graft. And I've done a fair bit of grafting to get this lot up. It's taken about 2 or 3 days, I think, all in all. I've been working a few evenings, but I'm pretty pleased with it. I've just been sat here relaxing, imagining in a couple of years' time, apple trees in front of me in blossom, some spring flowers coming up, and thinking about the rest of the flowers that will be coming up in the summer. I reckon it's going to be a nice little area. So I suppose we better have a little walk round to see what I've done since the last little walk round. So obviously the big job was to put the cedar shingles roof up, which took a bit of doing, but I'm pretty pleased with it overall. I've just got a bit of touching up on the top there. I've got to get a better cap to put on, but other than that I'm pretty pleased with it. I've put the rest of the sort of the vertical trellis bits in, and the seat back, that's in there, looking good, pretty comfortable position, uprights there and across, and that's it. A very good project that. And now the next thing is obviously to dig out the beds, get some compost in, and get some flowers there. So there we go, phase 1 of the orchard project done and dusted. I'm going to do a bit of a shout out now. I've got the idea from for this cottage garden roofed seat from one of my favourite gardening books, Geoff Hamilton's Cottage Gardens. And as you can see, there's the old picture of the seat, and there's so many other. There's a great archway in there, and there's all sorts of cottage garden beautiful tips and tricks in there, and it's one of my favourite books for helping me create different things around the garden. And I put a link for it in the description, so if you're after this book, you can find it via this link. So I hope you liked this video. I had a great time doing it, and I think it's turned out quite well. If you did like it, please press like in wherever you're supposed to press like underneath here, and click subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all the different bits and bobs that I'm doing on this orchard project, or the other projects that I'll be doing around the garden, which will be numerous. And that's it. See you next time. I'm the Optimistic Gardener. Goodbye.